following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, December 26th, 2024, Season 20, Episode 92. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break Live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. How'd everybody do yesterday? Everybody have a good Christmas?
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. You got the glasses on for more reasons than just the light today.
Well, today for sure. Today for sure.
It's not just the light.
No, I'm just tired. Like, my eyes are swollen, going 2 straight nights in a row of going to bed really, really late.
Yeah.
And today it's raining again. So the mood is just like one of those that you're like, why are we here? Like, no, don't get me wrong. I'm happy about my job and everything. I'm happy to be here, but I'd rather be at home right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is one of those.
Did you put together toys yesterday? Because Derek and I are beyond putting together toys. But did you put together toys the last couple of days?
Yes. There were a few that I'm like, how, like.
Did you have any leftover pieces? Like if you ever made a swing set and you got like a couple of wing nut left over.
You're like, hope my kid doesn't go flying one day.
And you're kind of like, okay, am I supposed to have like 3 of these nuts and bolts left over afterwards? Is this spare? Oh no, it's supposed to be spare. But then you do wonder about the safety of your child, like the swing. Oh, push, mommy, push. And then next thing you know, the kid just gets launched. Yeah. Do you ever?
I haven't gone through that. No.
Yeah.
No.
I remember.
So far, so good.
I remember one night I was in college there at LSU. If you hadn't known, I love LSU. I was in college, and one of my teammates, his brother played for the New Orleans Saints, Stan Brock. He was an offensive tackle for the Saints. So Stan, like, we're putting together Barbie's Playhouse thing, right? The big building thing. And they're like, but he does it with like a bottle of Jack Daniels. So like Barbie, there was some like leftover pieces involved with Barbie's Playhouse. I'm like, Stan, I think all these pieces are supposed to go. And we were looking at the end. Oh no, it looks fine. Can't you tell? That's the slide. That's the like, I don't know, Stan. I think there's some other things involved here. He's, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Kid will be okay.
The kids will never know the difference. And I'm like, you can't put together toys that way under the influence. You know, you always leave pieces. You always leave pieces out that you probably needed to have.
Well, luckily, Amber's husband's a handy guy, so he'll be all right.
Yeah.
He'll be all right, so they'll be fine.
I'm
all
sure he will be. He's a fun guy to have cocktails with.
No doubt. All right, let's jump in. Let's catch up on a couple injury updates for this week. Heading into the game, they had a few guys that did not practice. Now, this was early in this week. This was a Tuesday. They used a Tuesday just so everyone kind of understands the schedule. Walkthrough. They used their normal Wednesday schedule, which is usually a walkthrough.
Right.
That they did that on Tuesday so that they could then take what was usually an off day on Tuesday and move it to Wednesday, allow the players to be off for Christmas. So nice way to do it for the team. But that meant that the Tuesday injury report probably a little bit more cautious than may have been if it would have been on a Wednesday. But that being said, Eric Kendricks, TJ Bass, Jalen Brooks, and CeeDee Lamb were a few names that were on that list that were notable. Tell me what you know about specifically. Let's start with Eric Kendricks.
Yeah, Eric is that thing went all the way up to game time the other day. So
I was actually kind of surprised he didn't play. But
what I've learned about Eric Kendricks a little bit is Eric's one of those guys. He's very tuned into his body. You know, he loves cars, so it's kind of a passion. So he's talking about tuning and being involved. But he's one of those guys that kind of like to play. He needs to.
He's got to feel it.
Got to feel it.
Yeah,
got to feel it. And he went out there, and if he's very conscious because he doesn't want to play at a poor level, and that's why he wants to make sure. Now all these guys are nicked. I'm not saying that Eric Kendricks is begging off games and all that. Now he just wants to make sure that if he's playing, that he is going to give the maximum to his team that day. So hopefully things will be turned back around this way. But it was really, really close in the game the other day. So I think things should be okay this weekend.
What are we hearing about T.J. Bass?
T.J. Bass is still dealing with the thigh injury a little bit. So that's something that they kind of have to monitor, and hopefully that will get better with time. But these games, I mean, at the end of the season, as it is, it's a problem. I mean, it's just something, it's a little bit of a nagging thing that he has to deal with.
Yeah. Looking at the wide receiver position, there were a few names of guys. Jalen Tolbert, interestingly, he was limited, but he had supposedly a pretty gnarly finger injury.
One of the catches that he made, I remember looking at the tape, and it wasn't a catch. I think it was incomplete. And his hand got hit, and it just kind of, his finger, you could tell he was like looking at it. So I thought maybe he had a dislocated finger, and then they popped it back into place. But these are things he makes.
Yeah, he ran off the field because it happened right in front of us, inside from the press box point of view. And I remember seeing him, holding his finger.
Oh, it happened down on that.
On that end zone right there in that corner right in front of us. And when he came off, you could tell he had hurt his finger. He was holding a finger as he ran off the field. So
I think they're doing a dislocation there is what it is. So we'll have to deal with that.
Jalen Brooks also missed practice yesterday. What do we know about him?
That's it continues to be, that's a hamstring problem.
Yep.
So that doesn't never seem to work out very well for you. That's hamstring injuries are one of those things. I anticipate.
Is it hamstring or knee?
Oh, is this hamstring?
It says knee on here.
Did they say
on the report? Yeah, hamstring is Hall. Keemon Hall. He has the hamstring.
Well, I thought I could say, because I know that. Let me make sure of that one then, because I was hearing that was a hamstring one.
Well, what they put on the report was.
Well, I'm sure the report's right then, but let me double check that. I thought he was missed the game because of a hamstring injury. Oh, I take that back. My bad. He okay, that's it. My bad. He hyperextended his knee in practice in the practice the other day,
and that's how he ended up.
That's how he ended up on the court. So you're right, Amber. I'm sorry. It's not the same. It was his knee that he hyperextended. So I don't think that's. We'll see how that one plays. I'll check on that one as well.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one, just because now if you got Tolbert with a finger and obviously CD with his shoulder and now Brooks with a knee, you start wondering like your depth to be able to finish these last two games. But we'll see where that progresses through the rest of the week. At this point, are we hearing anything more about CD and his availability for this week?
Nothing more. They're being really. I mean, they're just. It sounds like to me he's just going to battle through this stuff.
Yeah. As long as his shoulders on, he's going to go for it.
As long as he can suit up and play, he's going to try and play. But but nothing more than from what we talked about the other day.
Hey, I salute the man. That's a lot of pain tolerance right there to be able to go through that.
We talked about it the other day, and I mean that's where you take matters into your own hands and you tell somebody to sit it out and not make it their decisions, because most likely than not. Not every player is gonna be this way. Some players would be happy just sitting it out, and we've seen those kinds of players. Yeah. CD is not one of those, and he's gonna be wanting to go out there and compete. He's been showing that so far, regardless of the injury. So, again, this is one of those that you just.
I've had people tweet at me about this because they heard our discussion that we had the other day, and. It's interesting. I think the fan base is like, listen, we understand what you're saying. It's damn Philadelphia. That's there. The season might be lost and gone and all that. These fans do not want to lose to Philadelphia. And they're thinking like, listen, he could sit out. Sure, great. But please don't let it be against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the vibe I'm getting. And I'm like, damn, I mean, guy's hurt. Yeah. I don't care if it's Philadelphia or I don't care who it is. I mean, he's hurt. He's legitimately hurt. But the fan base is very much like, it's Philadelphia, Brian. He's got to play. He's got to play these games. And I'm like, well, no, he doesn't. I mean, it's not you going out there and playing. It's him. Yeah. And that's where I could say like what you're talking about, Ambar. With sometimes you maybe have to take these players out of that situation because they're going to play. They're going to try and play. But man, I just find it just the hatred for the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, okay, CD, go out there and play, with a compromised shoulder. Just because it's the Philadelphia
and
Eagles.
I get the fans wanting to watch that. Also, you're not trying to watch a preseason game for your team, your own team, in December. At the end of December, you want to see the start players be out there on the field, and this is what you sign up for in the season as a player. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah. This season hit us in the face so hard.
Yeah.
We won next year. And again, and I'm not saying this is an injury that's predicted to keep him out of the beginning of the season or anything like that. But the sooner you can start that healing process, the better for him and the better for everybody else.
No, I go.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Derek.
No, I was going to say, I agree with all that, and I get all that. I guess the thing for me, though, still is, like, these are professional athletes, and
17
the
weeks,
legendary,
yeah.
The legendary people in this sport. You think about
Emmitt Smith.
You think about somebody like Emmitt Smith would be one.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about Jason Witten. Yeah. When you think about Jason Witten, the first thing you think about, tough as hell. Yeah. Like, dude broke his jaw, played football. Dude busted his spleen, played football. Like, it's
first thing I think about when you talk about him is putting weights in his
right. Yeah, exactly.
his hoodie.
Yeah, so he could make weight, so he could play football, even though he hadn't been eating because he's got a broken jaw. Like, those are the things that I think make legends in this sport. And I would never ever, if I were in the situation where I were having to make the call, I wouldn't take a guy off the field unless there was more damage that could be done. Now, if it was a situation you could do more damage, I'd be like, all right, man, we got to make sure we protect you for next year. Yeah. But if you can't do any more damage, like, I would allow that player to be able to make that decision if they want.
He's going to make the decision,
right? And if they want to do something that they feel like makes them more legendary, like, we're talking about Hall of Fame caliber players, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to do something that makes you more legendary, man, go for it. I'm with you. Let's go. And it's gonna hurt, but if you're down, then go for it.
No, I totally get it, and I totally understand what you're saying. I just found it really, that the rivalry, maybe that focused the rivalry a little bit more for me. That fans are tweeting at me going, "Hey, I don't care. He's got to play against Philadelphia. We can't lose this game." Yeah,
and it's tough to imagine the offense playing without CD.
Go back and watch.
I don't think it's a workable offense without him.
Go back and watch the game with Cooper Rush. That was his first start after the Atlanta game. Yeah. God awful. I mean, that offense was just god awful. And the defense, and we'll get into this, the defense held you in that game. Well, I mean, literally they get, it's 2 minutes left in the half and they're down 7-3 and they get a fumble and you have to kick a field goal because you can't even get 5 yards to get a touchdown there. So lots changed since, but it's CD. I mean, I will, and I don't think you are. I think none of us will ever question the toughness that kid has.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. As a matter of fact, my level of respect for his level of toughness has gone up this year. Just seeing him go through this and seeing him like, man, I'm still playing. Absolutely. I'm going to keep playing. I respect that. All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to jump into the Eagles. We're going to talk about a little bit of what we saw in the last matchup and maybe how some of that translates into this matchup, and then we'll dive into a little deeper conversation on the Philadelphia offense. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP.
Don't put off getting your oil change, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's Stay in Your Car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said that LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. Second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The segment brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's talk about the Eagles. Right now, they are 12-3. They still have not wrapped up the NFC East after that loss last week to the Commanders. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they can wrap it up this weekend with a win. Yeah. But if they lose this weekend, it's going to get real interesting there for that final week with the Washington Commanders.
They're playing the Giants, though. Yeah. Final.
Facts. Yeah. You know, will they need to win that game and Washington lose, or will it be a tie where Washington wins, then they have the tiebreak? I don't know. I haven't looked at that one up. I probably should have looked at it before I started talking about it.
I thought for a while there they were kind of competing for the number 1 overall seed, and now I think they're just trying to kind of get the division wrapped up. It sounds like that maybe the number 1 seed might come down to the Minnesota-Detroit game, which is Week 18, which. Everybody's kind of looking at that mode right now of like, oh, well, the Dallas-Washington game, there's 2 games that can get flexed. I think it's at 3:30 and at 7. Yeah. And my guess would be, I'm just guessing here, that Minnesota-Detroit game would be one that they would put in that one of the probably the final time slot.
That night game.
And then maybe Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Cincinnati might be still battling for a playoff spot depending on what happens with Denver, I think is so. But yeah, I think Dallas is pretty safe of saying that they're going to play Sunday at noon for that final game. I don't think there's any reason to put Dallas in either one of those time spots.
Yeah, they did get flexed down this coming week against Philly.
Yeah, sure did.
My hope is that even maybe they'll do it on Saturday, like make it a Saturday game, but we'll know. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, real quick, too, on Brooks, he's working this week.
Okay, good.
So he will be practicing today and then the next couple of days. So hopefully you'll have him back on that timetable.
Yeah, and at this point in the season, reps for young guys is very important. So I think he's in that.
We've had a lot of young guys earn their letter jackets already.
No doubt. You want him playing in these last couple games. But let's get on to these Philadelphia Eagles. What would you say is right now, as you're looking at this Eagles team, Brian, what would you say is like the biggest storyline around that team that Cowboys fans need to be aware of?
Well, you got a guy still chasing an NFL rushing record. You know what I'm saying?
It's a big one.
And it's a big one. And it's one that backs have come close to, but have failed. And now you're in a situation, too, where he's got 2 games left, and we're talking about Barkley. And you're looking at 260 yards or 250 yards. And
that's within striking range for him.
Sure. And all of a sudden, do you try and get this? Do you try and get this record? Now, I don't think he's going to get 250 yards rushing against the Cowboys.
Well, no.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
You don't think
Seriously, Derek? Put some respect on our defense.
Yeah.
No, I mean, here's the
But
deal.
I'm just saying that. I'm just thinking, how close can he get?
Yeah.
And the following week would be against the Giants.
Right.
And that would be at home. And how much you willing to play him, knowing that you're probably going to be, could possibly be. Now Green Bay but Green Bay is not going to win the division, and so they'll be. But Philadelphia, they'll probably likely be the second seed. If that's the case, So if that's the case, you're going to have to play. You're going to have to play likely the Commanders, I believe, who would be the seventh.
Turn around and play Commanders.
Yeah, so you would, you absolutely have to, it'd be that turnaround. But do you try and get him the record, or you try and get him close?
Yeah.
That would be so. I mean, I couldn't imagine John Mayer, the owner of the Giants, have to sit there and watch Saquon Barkley break the NFL rushing record.
Yeah, I don't think he gets there against the Cowboys. I do think he can rack up some yards, and even if he just gets 100 this game, then I think 150 against the Giants in the final game of the season, with it being his old team, the Giants. I think 150. Yeah, I think he's doing that. I definitely think he's going to break that record.
I just, you look at the way that this team, and we all understand about with Smith and Brown, the receivers. We all understand, with the wide receiver. With the tight end. I mean, this is a good team. This is a good team. And for a half, I went back and watched. For a half, you played really, really well against them on defense. And what I was impressed by this game, and I just put in my notes there that I was really impressed the way that Mike Zimmer attacked Philadelphia in that game. And he did a really good job of mixing the fronts and the coverages, and that was a problem for the Eagles to identify. They really didn't handle, when we talk about the mug look, when they put the linebackers in the A gaps. Philly didn't have a really good plan for how to deal with that. And I wonder if Mike's going to go back to it. The problem is that Overshown was such a big factor in that game that without him, how much of that can you really do? Because he got a couple of sacks, he had 11 tackles, he had pressures. I mean, he was your defensive MVP, and without him, can Zimmer do what he needs to do? Now, the trade-off here is, though, they crushed Carson in this game, in that last game. They went after Carson at cornerback, and so now you have with Bland, and we'll see with AO and stuff how this all kind of plays, or how they're gonna adapt to these receivers and the tight end, but. You were compromised at cornerback in this last time you met them.
Yep.
This time around, I think you're a little bit better shape. Now, I say that, but then you don't have Diggs. But that's going to be how well can you get pressure on this guy? This guy's a different quarterback when it comes to the pressure. He can handle blitzes, but he wants to throw the ball from the pocket. He's not interested in getting outside the tackle box. When he gets outside the tackle box, he's not very accurate throwing the ball. He's less than a 50% passer. It's when he stands in the middle of the pocket that he can kind of kill you that way with the way he. So I think Zim's got to be very mindful of that, and try and do the best he can to take advantage of a couple of different situations. With Jordan Mailata didn't play the last time in this game. The Lane Johnson was really good against Micah Parsons, but they moved Mike around and kind of found some spots. Mekhi Becton at the guard, they really went after him a little bit and had some pressure. Keep an eye on this matchup, though. This is the one I'm going to give you. Osa Odighizuwa, every time he was matched up against Cam Jurgens, the center, it was a pressure. It was pressure, and so if somehow, some way, they're going to try and double and help, because they leave these tackles like 85% of the time.
And should, because they're good.
Yeah, Mailata and Mailata, you can run around Mailata. He's a big man. I mean, but to beat him, you have to get around him. You have to win right off the jump and get to his corner and then dip him and then go, because if he gets his hands on you, you're toast. But they've got big guys, like I say, Mailata's big, Becton's big, and then this Landon Dickerson, he doesn't move all that well. But this still is a really, really good offensive line when it comes to running the football. The pass pass protection aspect of it, though, I just wonder if Dallas is going to be able to play their mug defense where they get those guys up there because, like I say, that gave Jalen Hurts a little problems. And what's the health of Jalen Hurts in this game, too, coming up? That's the big question mark. I mean, I've been kind of following what's going on in Philadelphia there, and there's still some questions. I mean, matter of fact, Kenny Pickett is the backup's dealing with some ribs problem. Yeah. So Tanner McKee, who was from Stanford, second-year guy from Stanford, the third quarterback, he says, hey, my reps and all this haven't changed all that much, so I'm just trying to get ready in case I have to go. But here they are, they're trying to win a division, and they've got two banged-up quarterbacks trying to get that done.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Jalen Hurts is coming off that game, he actually was trying to go back in the game when he got taken off, and they had to grab him and be like, no, man, you can't. He had put on his helmet like he was going back in, and they pulled him back. So it makes me wonder if the severity of the concussion wasn't that bad, or was he really just like, I'm going back in, I don't care that it was bad. But we'll see. I mean, obviously that's where a professional step in and definitely make a call for the player.
Well, they don't mess around with that stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about, I mean, it seems like that, and I'm sure somebody out there is listening and will correct me if I'm wrong about this, but it just seems like when it's a concussion situation, when a player's taken off, that player misses the next week. I mean, it just seems like an automatic thing. Like, I mean, if you look at like Cooper Beebe's situation, now maybe that was a shorter time, a week. I don't know. I mean, it was just, I don't think was that a full week that he missed? Did he get hurt?
I don't remember.
Well, I mean, we saw it with how long was Jake out?
Jake Ferguson was out
a few weeks.
2 games.
It was 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
so
he had
I
a concussion.
just kind of think that, but I think that's something just to keep an eye on because if it's Kenny Pickett, that's a whole different ball game for this.
Now you're going
to get a bunch of run.
Now they're going to run the ball a ton, but also on top of that, I think it does factor into something maybe helping this Dallas defense a little bit more because you don't have, because they got some significant passing options out there.
Yeah.
If they're compromised at quarterback, now that comes back to earth, and you really have to worry about just stopping the run.
Brown and Smith, they're really, really, really good when it comes to how they have to deal with their passing situations.
All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, I want to dive a little deeper into that running game that they have and just look at some of the issues that Dallas had last week against Tampa Bay. The running game got away from Tampa, so they had to leave it, but it was actually successful in a lot of respects early in the game. I want to talk a little bit about that and what that may mean for this game against the Eagles. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions? For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. The running game we've been talking about, Saquon Barkley right now is averaging 123 yards per game on the ground. He also has 31 receptions for 276 yards, a total of 15 touchdowns. He is their offense. But I think also the part you have to remember is Jalen Hurts can do real damage, particularly on the ground. He's averaging right now 42 rush yards per game. So when you put those two together, that's a pretty substantial rushing attack. He also has 32 touchdowns, 18 of them passing, 14 of them rushing. A lot of that being when they're in goal-to-go situations at the 1, at the 2. It's pretty much standard what they're going to do, and nobody can stop it. They're going to do the tush push, and nobody can stop that.
Yeah.
And
tush push.
Right, and they know how to do it. And it's amazing to me that nobody else has kind of figured out how they do this to be able to replicate it, because nobody else gets the success that they do. But it is something that obviously they do really, really well.
Well, not many quarterbacks. Have you ever seen Jalen Hurts lift weights?
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, like he's like
strong dude,
he's in the weight room. He is really in the lower body. I mean, he's the squat racks and stuff like that. I mean, he is like legendary for the amount of, so his ability to, when he gets that, what's amazing to me is they never mess up the snap. Now, for example, your game against Clemson the other day, you guys are trying to get a 4th down play, and what happens? The ball goes right through Manning's hands, and now it ends up. I mean, that could have been a disaster. Could have been but it's like they get the snap, even with their center with Juergens, and it goes back to Kelsey. They never mess up that snap. It's always like everybody's pushing, and they get the snap every single time. There's never any balls on the ground, or the ball's sideways. It just, you got to start with that snap, and so they're able to get the surge, the quarterback surge, because of his lower body power, and that's why they get that thing home.
Off topic, I mean, but going back to last week against Tampa, with Baker Mayfield, I don't remember what the center's name is, but with him, like in the snaps, there's so many times where he's just having to kind of jump to get the ball. I'm like, that's pretty
Barton,
bad.
the rookie center. Barton,
It was a struggle for them.
It threw off a couple of plays. You know, when you're having to jump and then corral the ball and then try and execute the play. That's why.
So, like, as a viewer, you never truly think of that part of the game or truly appreciate until you see bad snaps. You're like, oh, okay, because you just think of it as an automatic perfect snap, but it's not always that way.
Oh no, I say Derek's heart fell. I mean, he almost had a heart attack. Didn't I mean, seriously, you saw that ball on the ground, you're like going, whoa, wait a minute, what just? I mean, they don't even get the snap. It just goes flying out the. You know.
And then when he got on the ball, it's like, oh,
what are we doing?
That'll stop your heart real quick. But let's go back to that Tampa game and let's talk about that running game, because I think we all agreed on Monday. But for the fact that Dallas was able to get an early lead and keep that lead and put the pressure on them and really take them out of the running game, that could have been a whole different outcome from the standpoint of how successful they were using the running game early in the game. That being said, when you try to look at what Dallas was, where they were deficient against Tampa in their run defense, how does that match up with what Philadelphia likes to do, and does that create opportunities for Philadelphia?
Philadelphia's offensive line is clearly better, and I think they're better from the standpoint of the physicality. And not that Tampa is because their tackles are good, their centers are rookie, But you look at Philadelphia and the way that they come off the football. It is a downhill. Tampa similar, Bucky Irvin similar, but the way that Saquon Barkley's just so explosive, and they get holes. They get, and it doesn't matter when you watch Philadelphia run the ball. Sometimes you look at the metrics. Like, oh, back is really good running outside right. Back is really good running inside left. You could pick up metrics.
Yeah.
Every metric about Saquon Barkley is just as successful runs at all points of the offensive line. It's not like, okay, you could run stuff and like we were Joe Mixon. I mean, when the Cowboys played Houston several weeks ago, Joe Mixon, all his runs were outside left, big. And then if he ran outside right, no game, stuff, inside right, stuff. There's some guys that have that, and this guy doesn't have that. And where they really are good are with this guy though too is they've got tackles, they've got size, massive size on the left side of that offensive line. They get a really good athlete at the right tackle who can get out, and so you get the tight end, you get the tackle on the right side. That ball can get to the edge just because you've got the ability to kind of the double team blocks and things that they have going on over there. If they want to run more power, they go behind Jordan Mailata over on that left side because that's where. But this back hits it at all levels. Dallas is going to have their hands full. They're going to need Kendricks back in this one too. I mean, Leofau did a nice job, but Kendricks, Leofau. Mozzie had 5 tackles the last time these two teams played. Mozzie's played well against division teams. They're going to need to be really, really, really stout up front, especially if Hurts doesn't play. Because I'm with you, Derek. If it's Pickett, they're going to try and get this thing as close to 150 yards as they can to maybe set it up for him the next week.
Yep.
I'm going through and trying to figure out what was the last game where an offense was able to run all over the Cowboys. I'm trying to go back. Made it. Let's see, Washington 74 yards.
No, I mean they since the bye, they've done a much better job. Remember,
the last one.
Oh, it goes back to like Baltimore.
Texans.
The Texans were
where they got up to 109 yards with Mixon.
Yeah,
100 what?
109.
Mixon at 109.
He had 109. He was a leader on that. But that's the highest. And then after Houston, so against Commanders, the Giants, the Bengals, Panthers, Bucks. So far, all of those games, the Cowboys have been able to do a really good job at stopping the run.
Played better.
They definitely played better, and I think the reason why I was hesitating there is because I'm thinking I don't think any of those teams necessarily would be considered great running teams, right? Yeah. Yes. So you got to have to factor that in a little bit. But stopping the run is stopping the run. Like early in the year, there were some teams that I don't consider to be great running teams that were running the ball well against Dallas. So it does. That's not just the indicator every time. So I think they've gotten better. If you guys were to say what you think is the reason why they're better or why they've been so much better, what would you say it is?
To me, I think they had some guys that have played that early in the year. I don't think they were ready to defend the run.
Okay,
I think Mozzie's gotten better playing the run. We've seen what Osa's been able to do. Golston has played the run pretty well. You've got some guys. Look at Lawson and him having to play. The linebackers as a whole. Overshone was running down plays, making tackles for loss. They just did a better job with their fits and finish. Where Detroit, Baltimore, didn't it seem like they were really out of whack?
Yeah.
They were the Saints. They were getting to the edge. Guys were getting compressed. Guys were getting walled off. Guys couldn't get to the ball. Dallas is doing a much better job with their linebackers and the defensive linemen, not letting guys get to second level blocks on them too. And I feel like early in the year, they missed a ton of tackles, and it allowed opponents to have a little bit better of okay, it should be a gain of should be a gain of 3, but actually turns into a gain of 7 because they had a miss, and now they're dealing with that. But I think the play of the young players, like I say, the Mozzies, and Overshone and guys like that were really Leofout were really a big help for them playing better run defense.
Yeah, and I think to me a key area are the linebackers and what they were doing in each game. And you talked about them improving, but overall, it's just like you just see collectively a group that's playing better, tackling better, and connected in what they're doing and just more aware of what's happening on the field. Something that I think lacked in previous times where they were struggling with that was they weren't quick with the read and knowing, okay, making that quick turn and moving and being fast and getting there to the rusher, the running back, and making that tackle be a successful one. So I think it's just the fact that everybody's more in sync and aware of what's currently happening and reacting a lot faster to the play.
Yeah, I just went back and checked, Ambar. You the last time they really got gashed in the running game was against Philadelphia. They gave up 187 yards.
Yeah.
That
how many Barkley have they?
But that's when you take into account Hurts and what he does in the running game as well. Let's see. What was your question?
I was asking how many Barkley had. I'm wondering if he had
66.
Yeah,
66. Oh my God, I hate my accent. 66 yards.
Wait, he only had 66 yards?
Yeah,
he did.
But then you had Hurts with 56 yards.
Right, yeah.
And then Shipley,
but
34.
you said they had a total of
187.
187.
Yeah. They gave up over 200 yards rushing to San Francisco.
Yeah.
After the bye, and then you're like, oh geez, this is only going to get
that was
worse.
without McCaffrey.
Yeah. So they've done a better job. Like I say, that the 187, it was 187, then 141 against Houston, 145 against the Commanders. Now the Giants 116. 74 against the Bengals, 60 against the Panthers, 134 against Tampa. So they're
better.
They've gotten better. Yeah. The last 4 weeks, it was the 116, 74, 60, 134. So much better than where they were, pre-bye. They had some 190, 274. 184 with the Lions. They've had some bad days playing.
I mean, the way that they're doing it now, it makes it manageable, where you can manage the game and they're not just winning time of possession every time and then killing you with the running game. But the problem has been with the Cowboys, it goes back to the offense and them not taking advantage of what the defense was doing at the time.
Their offense was absolutely no help in this game last time when you played.
Yeah.
And that was Cooper Rush's first start.
Yeah, 6 points.
He was awful.
Yeah.
He was awful. And then Trey Lance, remember they tried to use Trey Lance a little bit and all that. But, boy, that was as bad as you can get offensively when you look at overall the metrics of that game.
Yeah. When you look at this matchup, is the most concerning part for the defense going to be whoever is playing opposite Bland?
Yeah, I think so, because they to me, this is how they went after Carson. They're not going to mess with Bland. Right. They're just not. That's why I kind of felt like that with with Mukwamu and then Lewis. Now Lewis, they were 3 for 3 for 35 yards and a touchdown on Lewis in this game. The last time that they met. I mean, so I think that not that Lewis will be ready to play. Don't get me wrong. But maybe that's why Izzy, and then also with Lewis, and then with Bland, I just kind of feel like you're matched up better across the board that way. Yeah. But they don't see it that way.
Yeah, I think with Izzy too. Like you're about to face one of the bigger receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think having somebody that has the size of Izzy actually, I think would be a pretty good matchup. Yeah. But I don't know. Obviously, you're right. They tend to still go away and AO. I'm sorry.
AO. Yeah.
And just kind of think that it's okay to throw him out there. But I don't know. I worry about that matchup as much as I worry about them trying to stop Barkley in this game. I really do.
I just think especially if we'll see with Hurts plays, but if it's Pickett get ready. You're going to get ready for 12 personnel, and they're going to try and just beat you up, and they're going to try and get this guy as many yards as they can. Running the football.
Chance of a little bit of rain too, so you add that in. It's definitely a game where you're like, let's load up and run the ball.
And they probably feel like that they can shut Cooper Rush down, defensively.
And I was gonna say that what is encouraging, although yes, you're definitely missing having DeMarvion Overshown on the field, but it is encouraging when you see what Liufau has been able to do, and he's been pretty good at what he's doing currently and the way they're utilizing him as well. And then you talk about Nick Vigil. He's another guy who is aggressive. Like, he's been playing. When he's on the field, you notice him. And now he is in the injury report currently with the foot injury.
Every week.
Yeah, every week he's there.
Yeah,
I don't think he's how long has it been? It seems like he doesn't practice
8
every
weeks.
week.
He didn't practice. He didn't practice.
But then the times that he's shown up on the field, he's making tackles and being there. And so you see him. He's making highlight plays. So those two guys are encouraging in the fact that when you lose a guy like Overshown, and even with Kendricks dealing what he's dealing with, you don't feel like, there is a drop-off for sure, but it's not huge. There are still guys that are going out there and making plays.
Philadelphia has to be happy that Overshown is not playing in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure they are.
All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, and we will wrap up this thing, tell you what we think is going to happen. Sunday at noon, Cowboys will take on the Eagles. So then for Bryan Broaddus and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?